They were ambushed from all sides. They bled but kept fighting until their last card turned the tables and shocked their enemies on that particular day. Welcome back to Paramount Recapped. I don't have many subscribers, but your single comment is a ray of hope to motivate me. The movie kicks off right after Muammar Gaddafi's regime collapses in Libya. With the dictator gone, the country quickly spirals into complete disorder. Militants and rebel groups start raiding the stockpiles of weapons left behind by Gaddafi's forces, and it doesn't take long before these arms are scattered across different factions. These newly armed groups start clashing with each other, turning the streets into battlegrounds, and Benghazi, once a bustling city, becomes a hot zone, basically one of the most dangerous places on Earth at the time. With the security situation worsening by the day, most foreign diplomats pack up and leave. Embassies are shut down across the board, but there are two key spots in Benghazi that stay operational: a small U.S. diplomatic post and a covert CIA compound not too far away. Both are still up and running, and for their safety, a group of ex-military contractors is hired. These guys go by the name GRS, Global Response Staff. They're not CIA agents. They're more like hired guns trained to keep everyone safe when things go sideways. That's when Jack Silva, a new GRS operative, flies into Benghazi. As soon as he steps off the plane, he's picked up by his buddy and team leader, Tyrone Rowan Woods. The two go way back, and it's clear there's trust between them. But their ride to the CIA base is anything but smooth. Not long after hitting the road, they run into some heavily armed locals. Gunfire echoes nearby, and before they know it, they're being surrounded by a group of sketchy-looking militants. Rowan, calm under pressure, radios the CIA compound for assistance. But the guy in charge over there, Bob, the station chief, says no. He doesn't want his security team getting into any conflict outside the walls of the base. His main goal is to avoid any diplomatic nightmares. Meanwhile, the militants start getting aggressive, asking Jack and Rowan to open their vehicle for inspection. Not wanting to provoke them, but also not ready to give in, Rowan warns them about U.S. drones watching the skies. He implies that if something goes wrong, there could be consequences from above. That bluff works. The militants back off, and Jack and Rowan make it to the CIA base in one piece. Once they're inside, Rowan confronts Chief Bob about not sending help. Bob doesn't budge. He insists the contractors should avoid getting involved in any confrontations that could stir up more problems. He believes the locals should manage their own conflicts. Jack's introduced to the rest of the crew. Guys like Gist, Tonto, Tig, and Boone, solid, experienced professionals who've seen action. These are his new teammates, the men he'll rely on when things hit the fan. As Jack starts getting comfortable with the surroundings, he's shown around the neighborhood and warned never to let his guard down. Always keep a weapon close, because Benghazi isn't the kind of place where you walk around empty-handed. When he finally gets a moment to himself in his room, he reflects on his wife, Becky, who wasn't exactly thrilled about him taking this dangerous gig. She had her reasons. Later on, Jack sits down with Bob, the CIA chief. Bob makes it clear, painfully clear, that the only reason GRS is even there is because Washington insisted on it. He doesn't want them getting involved in field work or interacting with locals. He believes his CIA staff is more than capable of handling their mission on their own. That same day, Rowan briefs the GRS crew about a meeting coming up. Two CIA agents, Venner and Giuliani, are scheduled to meet a Libyan oil exec. Giuliani, who isn't known for being warm or friendly, needs Jack to pretend to be her husband as cover during the meeting. Jack plays along. The meeting starts out uneventfully, but soon the team notices suspicious people watching them. It's subtle, but enough to make them uneasy. Sensing danger, Rowan calls it off early. Jack hurries to get Giuliani and Venner to their vehicle. The CIA agents are initially annoyed, thinking the GRS overreacted, until they realize they're being tailed. During the chase, Rowan takes over and manages to outmaneuver the car following them. It crashes into a forklift, and just like that, they're in the clear. Later that night, Jack has a strained call with Becky. She voices her frustration about the mission again. After the call, the team joins a video briefing with Glenn Doherty, the GRS boss stationed in Tripoli. Glenn informs them that Ambassador Chris Stevens will be arriving soon and will be staying at the U.S. diplomatic compound, the same one with almost no serious protection. The GRS team may be called in for backup if things go south. Before Stevens arrives, the GRS team swings by the compound to check it out. At the gate, they're held up by a group from the local February 17th militia, the guys supposed to help with security. Once inside, they meet Scott Wickland and Dave Ubben, U.S. diplomatic security personnel tasked with protecting the ambassador. As they tour the place, the GRS team realizes the compound is terribly vulnerable. Weak defenses, bad layout, not ready for a real attack. Rowan tells the DSS team that if something goes down, the GRS team is just a mile away and can be there in minutes. When Monday rolls around, the GRS team meets again with the militia and tries to smooth over some tension with a local peace gesture. They even strike a deal to secretly buy weapons from the group in order to track who's supplying them. Ambassador Stevens soon lands in Benghazi. He meets the team and shares his vision to foster peace and help Libya get back on its feet. It's a noble goal, but as he speaks, Tonto can't help but doze off. Bob notices and isn't amused. He warns Tonto to shape up or ship out. Later that day, the team accompanies Stevens to meet the mayor of Benghazi. Out of nowhere, a bunch of uninvited journalists show up. It's a security risk, but the event continues without a hitch. Afterward, the GRS guys warn the DSS that they were lucky. This could have easily gone sideways. They're introduced to Sean Smith, the guy setting up security systems at the compound. Once their visit ends, the team returns to the CIA base. The next day rolls around. It's September 11th, the anniversary of the 9/11 attacks, and the team reflects quietly. Stevens voices concern that Libyan locals are snooping around the compound more than usual. It's a bad sign. Meanwhile, the GRS guys take a moment to reach out to family. Jack gets unexpected news. Becky is pregnant. It's a glimmer of happiness in a tense place. But as night falls, that peace evaporates. Armed militants gather outside the compound and start a coordinated attack at dusk. Gunfire erupts, and mortars begin raining down. Stevens and his team are caught off guard. In the chaos, Wickland manages to guide Stevens and Smith into a safe room. Back at the CIA base, the GRS watches everything unfold through surveillance. They're ready to roll out, but again, Chief Bob hesitates. He wants to let the local militia handle it first, reminding them that GRS is a last resort. Glenn, still in Tripoli, hears what's happening and scrambles a plane to Benghazi. Meanwhile, the situation at the compound worsens. The attackers close in on the safe room. Back at the CIA base, Tonto asks Amal, their translator, for help getting in touch with the February 17th militia. Even with translations, Chief Bob insists on waiting. In the middle of this, Gist successfully pulls Giuliani out of another meeting. News of the attack reaches American authorities. As militants intensify their assault, the GRS team waits nervously for the green light to help. The outpost is soon set ablaze, with Stevens, Smith, and Wickland trapped inside the safe room. As the flames spread and cries for help come through radio and phone, Bob finally gives in and tells the GRS team to go. The team jumps into action, but is quickly met with a roadblock set up by militants. Before Amal can negotiate, another group shows up and a wild gunfight breaks out, and that's just the beginning of the night. Back at the CIA compound, Gist shows up with Giuliani in tow and immediately tells the chief to lock the place down. Things are getting serious. Without wasting any time, Gist heads back out to the diplomatic outpost where things are going south fast. Around the same time, Rand and the rest of the GRS guys arrive at the compound and jump straight into a gunfight, helping out the February 17th militia. What shocks them most is how chill the local fighters are, like this kind of chaos is just another Tuesday for them. Despite the chaos, the GRS pushes forward and finally makes it to the burning compound. There, they find Wickland, who managed to get out of the building alive, but the bad news is, Ambassador Stevens and Sean Smith are nowhere to be seen. The GRS guys start searching through the smoke and flames, hoping for the best, but what they find is heartbreaking. Smith's body, lifeless among the ruins. The team's faces say it all. Things have gone from bad to worse. As the team regroups and links up with the surviving DSS agents, Amal, their local translator, gives them more bad news. Word on the street is that the militants are planning another hit soon. There's no time to waste. The GRS starts gathering anything they might need for a fast getaway. But before they can even leave, a fresh group of attackers rolls in, and they're forced into another nasty shootout. Once they fight off the attackers, they pile the DSS agents into a vehicle. Jack is trying to give directions to Wickland, telling him to take a left at the next turn to get back to base, but Wickland's completely rattled and doesn't seem to be hearing a thing. Instead of going left, he turns right, and drives them straight into enemy territory. The militants spot them, and within seconds, bullets start flying. Luckily, their car is armored, and even though they're under heavy fire, they manage to get away and reach the CIA compound safely, just moments before the GRS team pulls in behind them. As soon as they're all inside, the CIA chief starts pushing for a full-on escape to the airport. But Rand isn't having it. He knows how risky that move is and flat-out refuses. He demands that the chief get help instead, but the chief insists that backup is too far out. Rand, frustrated and fed up, pulls rank and tells the chief that he's taking over. Caught off guard but with little choice, the chief starts working on an evacuation plan with his staff. Meanwhile, Glenn, one of the GRS higher-ups, finally lands in Benghazi and starts making his way toward the base. The CIA team inside is busy burning sensitive files and getting ready to evacuate, while the GRS guys brace for what they all know is coming: another wave of attacks. A local warns them to shut off all their lights, as the bright glow could easily give away their position. Sure enough, before long, the place is surrounded. Everything gets tense fast. The militants creep in close, then start chucking grenades over the walls. A full-blown firefight breaks out. Despite being completely outnumbered, the GRS and DSS teams hold their ground. Somehow, they manage to repel the attackers without losing anyone. An unexpected but much-needed win. Later that night, Glenn is still trying to get to the base, but Libyan generals are holding things up, trying to squeeze him for more money before they'll drive him in. Back at the compound, the GRS and DSS keep watch, guns ready, while the CIA staff keeps making desperate calls for support. Glenn finally gets through to Rand and offers to join the defense once he arrives. Amal and Giuliani are trying to negotiate with the local power brokers to get Glenn safely to the base, but it's a mess. Nobody's cooperating. Over at the airport, Glenn has had enough of the stalling and threatens the generals, telling them if anyone dies at the base because of the delays, he's coming for them. Harsh words, but he means it. Back at the compound, there's word that Ambassador Stevens might have turned up in a nearby hospital, but his condition isn't clear. Meanwhile, Giuliani climbs to the roof and shares some food with Gist, who's keeping lookout. They talk about whether help is actually on the way, but Gist isn't hopeful. He tells her to reach out to her people just in case, because the odds don't look good. Elsewhere, Tonto is trying to convince Amal to leave for his own safety, but Amal refuses. He says he has to stay, even if it puts him in danger. Jack is growing more and more worried. If Stevens is still out there, he hopes Glenn can get to him before it's too late. That's when they see more enemy forces gathering outside. It's about to kick off again. Moments later, the militants launch another attack. It's intense, but eventually, the shooting dies down. The team knows it's just a matter of time before another wave hits. During a quiet moment, Jack opens up about his fears. What if he doesn't make it out of this? He worries about who would raise his kids if he died. Rand, sitting nearby, says he gets it. He's got a son too, and the thought of not being there for him keeps him up at night. Their talk is cut short when they get word that Glenn and his men are finally on the way. But the mood turns somber again when they hear the ambassador has been confirmed dead at the hospital. No one says much. They just prepare for what's next, knowing that more attacks are coming and that survival isn't guaranteed. When Glenn and his team finally roll in with a few Libyan soldiers, it gives the defenders a little boost. But reality sets in quick. There aren't enough vehicles for everyone. Glenn tells them to hold the base while they round up more transport. Unfortunately, that moment of hope is crushed fast when the militants begin a full-scale mortar assault. One of the shells hits the compound, seriously injuring Gist. Another blast kills Rand, who had rushed out to help. Ubben ends up with a badly broken leg. Tig kneels over Rand's body, saying a quiet prayer, while Jack grieves nearby. Despite the chaos, they pull Gist back inside for emergency treatment. Everyone's shaken, and as they regroup, they see another mob of militants heading their way. At first, it looks like it's going to be the final battle. Tonto swears he'll fight to the end, but then something unexpected happens. He spots the Libyan fighters holding up the Jambo hand signal, a local sign of peace. It takes him a moment to process it, but when he does, the relief is overwhelming. He breaks down in tears, realizing these guys aren't here to fight. They're here to help. Not long after that, the Americans begin evacuating. The chief, looking lost and defeated, hesitates to leave, but Jack snaps him out of it. He reminds the chief that if he stays behind, more Americans will have to come in to rescue him, and they might not make it out. The chief finally agrees and joins the evac. As they shut the gates behind them, Tonto invites Amal to come along, but Amal declines. He says he's sorry for the madness his people caused, but he's staying behind. Once the Americans are gone, Libyan fighters walk through the wreckage, collecting their dead. At the airport, the survivors finally board evacuation planes. Giuliani and the chief thank Jack and the rest of the GRS team for everything they did. Meanwhile, Tonto hands over the keys to the GRS vehicles to some local fighters who drive off with huge grins on their faces. Before they leave, the GRS guys sit in silence, thinking about everything that just happened. They're convinced the attack wasn't random. Someone had been planning it for weeks. But at the end of the day, what matters most to them is that they had each other's backs. They're beat up, exhausted, and mourning their fallen, but they're heading home alive. Just before taking off, Jack calls Becky. His voice is heavy as he tells her what went down. He tells her they lost Rand, and that he's done. This was his last mission. As the plane takes off, he looks one last time at a picture of his friend. The final title cards reveal that Libya faced backlash from around the world after the attack. Most of the GRS team walked away from military work for good after that. Thank you so much for watching and sticking around till the end. I really appreciate the support. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more.